Your memory is a liar when money is on the line. It will tell you that you had a good reason for breaking your rule, that this setup was slightly different, that you would have taken the trade if conditions were just a little better. Your memory will rewrite what you intended to do based on what you ended up doing, and it will make it feel like you were following a plan the whole time. But you weren't, because a plan in your head is just a suggestion. A plan on paper is a commitment. The difference isn't symbolic, it's psychological. When your plan exists only in your mind, it's flexible. It adapts to how you feel in the moment. You remember the rules that justify the trade you want to take and forget the ones that would have stopped you. You convince yourself that what you're doing is still within the plan because there's no external reference to prove otherwise. But when your plan is written down, it doesn't bend. It doesn't negotiate. It says what it says, and you either followed it or you didn't. Writing your plan down forces specificity. Ideas that feel clear in your head become vague the moment you try to put them into words. You think you know your entry conditions, but when you try to write them as a checklist, you realize there are gaps, interpretations, judgment calls. The act of writing exposes where your plan is actually just a preference, and preferences don't survive pressure. Rules do, but only if they're clear enough that you can't talk yourself out of them when it matters. This is why traders resist writing their plans down. Not because they don't see the value, because they know that once it's written, they'll be accountable to it. You can't lie to yourself about whether you followed a plan that's sitting in front of you. You can't pretend the rule was different than it was. You can't adjust your memory of what you intended to do based on what the market ended up doing. The written plan is a witness, and most traders don't want a witness. They want the freedom to decide in the moment and then retroactively justify it. But that freedom is what's keeping you stuck. Because without external accountability, your plan is just a moving target. Every loss becomes evidence that the plan needs tweaking. Every missed trade becomes proof that the rules are too strict. You're not following a plan and learning from it. You're revising the plan every time it's uncomfortable, which means you're never actually testing whether it works. You're just reacting to how you feel and calling it strategy. A written plan breaks that cycle. It creates separation between the version of you that built the plan and the version of you that's trading it. The version that built it was calm, rational, thinking clearly. The version trading it is under pressure, emotional, looking for relief. And when those two versions disagree, the written plan tells you which one to trust. Not the one who feels more confident, the one who is thinking more clearly. This is also why checklists work. Not because they're complicated, because they're external. You're not asking yourself whether conditions are met. You're checking whether they are. It's not interpretation, it's verification. The checklist doesn't care how you feel about the setup. It only cares whether the conditions match, and that removes the negotiation. You're not debating with yourself about whether this counts. You're following a process, and the process either produces a yes or a no. The best traders don't have better memories. They have better systems. Systems that don't rely on them remembering what they were supposed to do or how they were supposed to do it. Systems that are written down, accessible and non-negotiable. They review their plan daily, not to revise it, to reinforce it, to remind themselves what the rules are before the market is open and emotions are live. Because they know that in the heat of the moment, they won't remember clearly. And they're not willing to bet their account on their memory. Your plan doesn't need to be long. It doesn't need to be complicated, but it does need to exist outside of your head. A single page, a checklist, a set of if-then statements that someone else could execute without needing to ask you what you meant. That's the standard. If it requires interpretation, it's not written clearly enough. If it leaves room for judgment, it's not specific enough. And if you can't check it off, it's not external enough. This isn't about rigidity. It's about honesty. A written plan forces you to be honest about whether you're following the process or just doing what feels right in the moment. And most of the time, the answer is uncomfortable, which is exactly why you need it. Because the trades you think you should have taken and the trades your plan says you should have taken are often very different. And until you write the plan down, you'll never know which one you're actually following.